Mob, welcome back to the cream of the crop. 4th and 31 podcast, your one-stop shop for all things college and SEC football. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that thumbs up so you never miss a minute. I'm your host, part of the Killer Bees broadcasting team, the Chad Bullock, along with the man, the myth, the legend, and the coach, Bo, and the man who signs all the paychecks, the artist formerly known as the boss, the Boo Bird, which he doesn't have that up there now. All right, Mob, kind of a skin and bones weekend as we talked about earlier. We're going to go through these three games real quick because I'm a sucker for the underdog, and every week they don't come through. Oklahoma beats Missouri 17-6, and I'll be honest, I didn't even know Pribula was playing this past weekend until I watched the game. It was a shocker to me. Oklahoma's defense did what Oklahoma does. Oregon USC, the one I thought USC could go in and maybe pull an upset. Not even close, 42-27. And then the one I don't think any of us saw coming at halftime, 31-0 Tennessee at the half in Gainesville for their first win in Florida since 2003. Are you kidding me? Florida tried to come back a little bit in the second half, but they didn't stand a chance. As Tennessee gets the win 31-11. And boys, I think I smell something. Is there a rant? Do I smell a rant? Bo?
You do, but I would also like to acknowledge another game that fit right into that Tennessee mold was Pitt going into Georgia Tech and into their season. Essentially, that game was 28-0 like that, and then they got the pick six to make it 35-7, and then kind of had to hang on for dear life. Pat Narduzzi, what an idiot! I don't know if you guys saw it. They were up 14. He faked a punt inside his own 40 on like 4th and 8. And the player falls down, which made it even worse. If he stays on his feet, they probably have it. But he falls down, and then Georgia Tech gets the ball, and I mean, like in 3 plays, scores a touchdown. I said, they just lost the game. They just blew a 35-7 lead, and they just gave this game away. And then they ended up having like a 3rd and 13 or something. And they end up Pitt's got an outstanding freshman quarterback. And he picks it up, and then like the next play, they house one for like 60 yards, and then ball game. But I mean, just a wild sequence of events. But yeah, I got a rant for this show. There's a lot of hate thrown at the SEC this week, and while we all acknowledge this on the show, we don't like these games. All we want is good, meaningful college football. We want to see the cream of the crop. We want to see the best against the best every week. Unfortunately, we don't get that, and it's not like that in any conference. But for some reason, people who have an inferiority complex outside of the SEC love to bash the SEC when a handful of teams, a handful, play non-Division I opponents, because you had South Carolina, they played Coastal Carolina, LSU played Western Kentucky. I mean, and then you had 3 conference games, and you only had really a handful of teams. I think Texas. Did they have a bye this past week?
Texas played Arkansas.
You're correct. I was thinking somebody had a bye this week, but anyway, there was a handful of teams, 6 teams that played non-Division I opponents, and it always seems like the most hate always comes from the Big Ten crowd because they have such an inferiority complex when it comes to the Southeastern Conference. Because they know top to bottom the conference just isn't as good. Anybody can see that. Kirk Herbstreit. That Kirk Herbstreit, the same one who played quarterback at Ohio State, was an Ohio State graduate, himself said that that he gets accused all the time of being an SEC homer. And I was watching an interview with him, and he was like, are you kidding me? He said, I want nothing more than to promote the Big Ten and to make the Big Ten look good. But he's like, just watch the games. Watch the games, and you tell me. You tell me what you see. And the fact that in the past recruiting cycle, every team in the SEC, with the exception of Vanderbilt, finished in the top 30. There were another, I think, 10 or 12 teams that finished in the top 40 in the portal. So not only are the SEC teams, the majority of the teams getting the best players in high school recruiting, they're getting some of the most developed talent already out there. I don't know how there could be any possible argument that the SEC top to bottom is not the best conference. Now, that's not to say that the Big Ten doesn't have teams that, I'm not saying that they can't win the national championship, but what I'm saying is top to bottom, the SEC has the most talent, has the best players. And another point that I'm going to make about this is also Phil Steele. I was checking his ratings today. He uses 9 sets of power ratings. One of them is purely on the strength of the roster. In other words, recruiting. 10 of the top 25 best rosters, top to bottom, in the country are in the SEC. There's just no argument. And to that point, there was only 5 from the Big Ten. Now, the thing of it is we can go on and on and on about this, about who's got the best teams and who's got the best this. We played this week. Typically, it always happens in the SEC. We always get the most smoke from the Michigan and the Ohio State fans. The reality of it is that you're secretly jealous of Alabama, especially. I'll use them as an example. Alabama has Ohio State and Michigan together combined only have 5 more bowl wins than Alabama. Michigan and Ohio State also hold record for the most losses in bowl games. Alabama has a 46-28 record in bowl games. They've also won more bowl games and have a winning bowl record. Alabama's claimed 19 national championships. Ohio State and Michigan together have 21 claimed national championships, either 21 or 22. And I understand it. I get it. I mean, Michigan, you started playing football 14 years after the Civil War. I get it. You've been playing longer than anybody. You've won more games than anybody, as you should have. But the reality is you've only won 3 championships since World War II. One of them you shared with Nebraska, and the other one you had a complete rogue program run by Jim Harbaugh, where you had not only cheating in major recruiting violations, but you also had all the Connor Stallion stuff. Ohio State, you've won 3 titles with 3 different coaches, and I do tip my cap to you because you, Ohio State, recruit like the SEC, and you've done it for a long time. I do tip my cap to you. I have a whole lot more respect for Ohio State than I do Michigan. I do, however, have to point out your 3 national championships in the last 25 years, 2 of them have been followed by sanctions. 1, Jim Tressel, 1, Urban Meyer. Now, that was secondary, but it was still sanctions. So I understand you have an inferiority complex. I understand why. In the last 50 years, Alabama has won 9 national championships. The 2 of you have won 5. So I get it. Anytime the SEC does something that you don't like, you're going to point it out. I understand it. We pointed it out. We don't like it. We only want to see meaningful football. But I'm also going to point something out to you that you might not like with your conference. While you sit here and bash the Southeastern Conference for playing a handful of Division II teams, non Power 5 or non-Division I teams, you guys do it too. Oh, but we play non-conference games. That's right. We'll hit that in just a second. So I'm going to read a list of the games of the teams that Big Ten opponents have played this year. Indiana State, Grambling, Montana State, Missouri State, UC Davis, Albany. I didn't know they still had a program. Western Illinois, twice. Houston Christian, Northwestern State, that's in Louisiana. Not the Northwestern, but this is Louisiana. The Demons, one of the worst athletic programs in the entire country. Sorry, I had a friend that was a basketball coach at Northwestern State, and some of the stories he shared with me, unbelievable. Villanova, Norfolk State, Towson, Youngstown State, and Southern Illinois. So don't go there, Big Ten, and don't try to get all uppity on the Southeastern Conference for playing a few cupcakes. Oh, and by the way, the last 5 or 6 weeks, let me read you your schedule. And on top of that, Indiana, you opened the season with Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. Penn State, you opened with Nevada, FIU, Villanova. Okay? Now, the last 5-6 weeks, let me read some of these schedules. And look, let me also preface this by saying, I understand you can't help that once you get past team number probably 8 in the Big Ten, it's garbage. That is not your fault, Michigan. That is not your fault, Ohio State. That is not your fault, Oregon. That is not your fault, USC. These teams, their football programs are so bad, and it's not your fault. You cannot help who is in your conference. Okay, but I'm just pointing this out. Indiana, you have played Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin, Purdue. Ohio State, you have played Wisconsin with a third-string quarterback, Penn State, fired coach, backup quarterback, Purdue, worst team in the conference, no conference wins, UCLA, fired coach, backup quarterback, and Rutgers is just Rutgers. Rutgers has a quarterback so bad he couldn't cut it at Minnesota. Ethan Kaliakmanis. How much more do we have to see of that guy? Oregon, you have played. I'll at least give a little tip of the cap to Oregon. Rutgers, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, USC. You put those three, Iowa, Minnesota, USC in a row, that's not too bad. And then Michigan, this is god awful. Michigan State, Purdue, Northwestern, Maryland. So don't ever talk to us about scheduling. Half of your schedule is a bye week. And I'm talking to you, the better teams in the conference. Again, it's not your fault. I'm just pointing out a reality. We acknowledge that our conference has a bullshit week. Sorry, I know we keep it family friendly here, but I couldn't resist there. We all know that. I know, bad boy. We all know that, and we don't like it, and we don't want it. Okay? But don't go and point the finger at us when you're just as guilty. And Notre Dame, I got something for you too. Notre Dame, in their schedule, they have played 7 defenses ranked 100 or higher. 2 of those defenses were not named Miami or Texas A&M. So in their last 10 games, they have played 7 defenses that are ranked 100 or higher. So don't you dare talk to us about scheduling and about Alabama's problems running the football. That is a joke. That is an absolute joke. Notre Dame, I mean, this is pathetic. After you get lost to Miami and Texas A&M, Purdue, Arkansas, Boise, NC State, USC, good win. Boston College, Syracuse. That was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in my life. Syracuse, they scored 3 touchdowns against Syracuse in the first 4 minutes and did not run an offensive play. Think about that one, boys. And then Navy, not to mention it's a slew of ACC teams and a service academy. So Notre Dame, you can have a seat too. Now, Alabama. Let me talk about Alabama for just a minute. I just want to lay this out about Alabama, that I'm not worried about this Iron Bowl one bit. Not because I'm that confident they're going to win, okay? But I feel better about it for the simple fact that everybody has already written Alabama off. Alabama has already lost this game. Because it's voodoo, jinx, it's at night, it's this, it's that. Correct me if I'm wrong, the gravedigger was at Jordan Hare at night. I mean, fourth and 31. Did we not score a point for 3.5 quarters against Auburn at their place and still end up winning? We've turned the tables on them a number of times, guys. It's just, we as Alabama fans, we bitch about everything that doesn't go our way. We understand that, okay? But I'm not concerned about this game because this is Kalen DeBoer's first team. His last year's team, he cobbled together and he tried to hang on for dear life. This is his first recruiting class. Okay? The recruiting class he walked into, half of them left before they even played us. Even met Kalen DeBoer. As soon as Nick Saban left, a bunch of them just jumped ship just right off the bat. So this is the first year that he has had his recruits and had a chance to put his recruits with the portal class. So moving forward, I really like the trajectory of Alabama. Maybe we win this game, maybe we don't. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, guys. It's going to be a good ball game. It's going to be close. We all know that. but I like the direction Alabama's going. And for all the people that are talking about wanting DeBoer to leave and, oh, maybe he will leave for Penn State. No. Guys, that would be catastrophic. Understand that. He has got 10 commitments from the top 80 recruits in the country. He is cleaning up in recruiting. They have a solid structure. They have a solid foundation in Alabama. And if he leaves, that portal's going to open and boom, it's going to be out the door again. And I think he's doing a really good job. I think he's done a really good job of ignoring the noise and just coaching football. We can all sit here and gripe and complain about this play call and why did they do that. That's standard. I made a post the other night that said the easiest two places to coach from the bleachers and from the recliner. So, when you're they know their recruits better than anybody. They know what they want to do better than anybody. They've watched the film. They know what Auburn's weaknesses are. They've had 2 weeks to get ready. And when I watch Alabama, I really think you're going to see more Daniel Hill this week. He averaged 4 yards a carry against Oklahoma. Nobody talks about that. I really think that one of the problems Alabama's had, they've had two problems running football. One is because they're very veteran at some spots and very youthful and inexperienced in others. Remember, they've got a true freshman and a sophomore starting on in Formby and Michael Carroll. So while they're really good in some spots, you've seen breakdowns on other spots, and a lot of that is youth. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I think you're going to see more, and this is what I would like to see, more 6- and 7-man protections, 3-man routes, and then delay, jam, and Cuevas coming out of the backfield. We saw him do it against Oklahoma, went for a touchdown. I would like to see Alabama do that. Number three, I really love Alabama's defense against Auburn's offense, because Kane Womack and that a veteran, experienced defensive coordinator, veteran, experienced defense is going to throw some stuff at Ashton Daniels he's never seen in his life. And I really think the defense is going to be able to flip the game, because they're going to make a couple of plays, much in the way Oklahoma did to us, having all those veterans and the Brent Venables as defensive coordinator. I think with the youth and inexperience at that quarterback spot, I think Alabama and Kane Womack will be able to do that to Ashton Daniels. And I just feel like whether Bama wins or loses, this is gonna sound bad. It doesn't matter to me. One game doesn't matter to me, because I'm looking long term, guys. I'm looking past this game. I'm looking 4 years into the Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, 5 years into the Kalen DeBoer. But I also just feel like if Alabama comes in and executes, takes care of the football, and doesn't have the special teams blunder, which we've only seen that in one game all year, that they should come out on the right side of this thing. But I like I said, I like Alabama's trajectory moving forward.
So real quick, you don't think Deuce Knight's going to be quarterbacking Saturday?
No, they flat out played Deuce Knight so that they could end up redshirting. Almost said Robbie Ashford, the quarterback at Auburn now.
Okay.
What's Ashton Daniels. I'm not trying to disrespect the young man. I couldn't think of his name. Ashton Daniels. That's the word that I heard, that they were sitting him simply so that they could redshirt Daniels, because I have a feeling a lot of those players are going to leave after this season anyway. Okay. That portal's going to open up. There's a lot of players. Singleton, Cam Coleman. There's a lot of players that are gonna draw a lot of interest.
Well, I feel right now I should direct the Big Ten and Notre Dame fans to the medic tit for their burns that they just got, their 3rd-degree burns. Get some ice for those burns. Not too much ice, but maybe some ointment for the burns. But anyway, I don't know if I can follow that. I'm gone. Nope. What we're going to do now is have some fun, guys. We're going to do I got top 5 best and top 5 worst Iron Bowl moments for Bama fans. And let's work backwards. I'll go top 5 worst so we get to the good stuff last. Okay? So, number 1, I'll go reverse order. Number 5 was in 95. I don't know if you remember this game. It was a touchdown that was called incomplete in the end zone. Auburn ended up winning that game 31-27. There was a clear view in the Mobile Register picture, and the next day, catch, foot down. Referee said no catch. If there would have been some reviews in 95, Alabama would have won that game. Still a little salty. Oh well. 97, probably the worst game ever. Alabama was winning that game 17-15. Had the ball with about a minute left, and for whatever reason, Mike DuBose decides to throw a screen to Ed Sissom, and it's not Ed Sissom's fault. Ed Sissom catches the screen. Auburn defender hits him, jars the ball loose. Auburn kicks a field goal to win it. Y'all remember that one?
Yep. That was,
right.
If I remember correctly, that was Freddie Kitchen's last game.
Yeah, could have been. I don't remember the quarterback, but I just that one play just still sticks with me in 97.
Well, Chad, let me comment on that real quick. I didn't have a problem with the play call because it was a 3rd and long. It was safe. It wasn't just slamming in the A gap and turn around and punt it. If we can if it all day. If he hangs on the ball, Bama punts, they probably wins. If he gets away from that tackle, the game's over because there was. If you go back and watch that replay, I've seen it so many times. There's nobody back there. I actually thought it was a really good call, but of course, Bama didn't execute it, so it was a terrible call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily really complaining. I guess about the play. I guess the result is one of the worst moments. All right, at number 3, I've got the honk if you sack Brody Croyle game back in 2005. Yeah. That was a long game if you stayed and watched it all. It was like, I can't remember the Chris Capps. Chris Capps was like, Olay.
Well, the problem is he couldn't block those good speed rushers that Auburn had. And then Mike Shula, the amazing offensive coordinator he was, never made any adjustments in the pass protection. Sean Payton used to always talk about this when he was with the Saints. The first thing we got to do is get the pass protection. If we can't protect, it doesn't matter what routes we run. It's like I'm watching that game and I'm going, adjust the protection, keep a back end, keep a tight end in, do something. Don't just keep asking this young man to do something he's not capable of doing. And they did it. And that was what was so bad. And Chris Capps, that was embarrassing for him. But that was not his fault. That was strictly on the Alabama offensive coaching staff's. That was their fault.
And my last two, 2010, the comeback, and of course the one I think we all think's number one is the kick six. Boss, what you got on this?
You just took the words out of my mouth. I only had one for the show, and that was it, man. That kick six. And what makes it even worse is every single time ESPN wants to talk about the Iron Bowl, that is the first thing you see on the TV, and it just strikes me right in the heart. You know, every single time. Yes, worst moment of Iron Bowl history I could ever imagine. I mean, there's a lot. Bo over the top. You know, there's a lot through the years. I mean, it's the Iron Bowl for a reason. But, man, that kick six, man. Good grief. Give me a break. I know Auburn fans are laughing at me right now, but, I mean,
and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the week before that the play against Georgia, the tip ball?
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks before that or whatever it was. Georgia went down and punched it in late and had the game won. Nick Marshall just throws it up into double coverage. I was like, that was stupid. And then it was, I was like, oh my gosh. And then they play Alabama and then they end up going, they went to the title game and lost to Florida State. But, you know, it was like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I still get the shiver seeing it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get off the bat.
For me, Chad, one of them we were talking about before the show, I think it was 88. It was either 88 or 89 where it was a 4th down play and they Auburn receiver caught the ball and you could clearly see half the foot was in bounds, half the foot was out of bounds. They called it a catch, and then Auburn ends up going down and scores and wins the game. That was another one. I think it was 88. But that was a tough one too, because again, if you have replay, Bama gets the ball, they run the clock, win the game.
Yeah,
that was another one that was heartbreaking.
All right, Mob, Auburn and Bama fans, what's your favorite and least favorite moment of any Iron Bowl? That's just, you know, maybe it's from a game that you went to, because I have one in my favorite. You know, let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you, even if it's a bad play for Alabama. Let us know. All right, top 5 favorite moments for me. Number 1, The last time the Iron Bowl was played on Thanksgiving, 1992, 0-0 halftime. Probably one of the ugliest first halves offensively I've ever seen, and I was 14 at the time. Langham gets the interception to get the scoring going for Alabama in the third quarter. The pick six against Stan White. I mean, once he scored there, you knew that game was over because Bama's defense was so elite. Number two was a game that I actually went to, 1994. Auburn had the long winning streak. Alabama went up 21-0 at halftime. And Bo actually won tickets at Davidson from the baseball team for that game. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Okay. So, hold on, let me finish real quick. Auburn scored 14 in the second half, made it 21-14. Alabama stops them on 4th and inches right around midfield to stop them on that drive and preserve the win. Bo, what you got?
I was going to say on that first one, the Langham pick, just a fun fact about that defense. Every starter on that defense got drafted.
That's true.
All 11. Now, they were in different years in different classes, but all 11 starters. To my knowledge, that's the only defense in the history of college football where all 11 starters were drafted. And there were multiple first-round picks on that defense, too. They were unbelievable.
They were. Number three, 2009, the drive. Down 21-20. Greg McElroy leads us down. The little screen pass or the play-action pass to Upchurch to preserve that win. Number four, this is the throwaway, kind of a throwaway. It's not really a throwaway play, but it's one you don't think about in the game too much. But I think about it all the time because I remember watching this game. The first win in Jordan-Hare back in 1999, Alabama was losing 14-6 at halftime. They get the ball in the second half. They drive down to about inside the 5. They had a first and goal right around the 5. They get stopped on 4 straight plays. Auburn gets the ball first and 10 at like the 3. They try to do a little play action pass. Kendall Moorhead goes right through the center, gets them for a safety to make it 14-8, and then Sean Alexander adds a couple of touchdown runs in that game, and just being the first win in Jordan-Hare to get that monkey off our back, and obviously number 5, 4th and 31. I'm going to let Scott take over from here.
There's a reason the name of this show is 4th and 31. It is my favorite moment of all Iron Bowl moments. And it gets me, hey, the first thing I did when we created this channel was I texted all my Auburn fans and I said, hey, join the show. I had one hit me back. You expect me to join and to subscribe to a channel called 4th and 31? Yes. I do. And I thank you because he signed on today. He's here and he's watching. So, yeah, greatest play of all time. And it's recent. And it's Nick Saban. When you look back at it, it's Nick Saban's last big play in regular season as the head coach of Alabama. And that to me was enough. Hey, 4th and 31, my favorite play ever. There's a lot. Chad just mentioned one a second ago, that McElroy to Upchurch. That was awesome. A lot of good. Same thing with the bad things. There's so many memories about the Iron Bowl, man. It's what's growing up in this state is all about, man. You care. That game is more important than a lot of things. I mean, there are marriages that are ended over this game. This game is super important. When you come into this state and you move here, you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision. You can't wait. It's got to be. You got. I don't care what month you move here. You got to figure it out. You better figure it out quick because you're going to get asked very quickly, and you're going to need an answer. So choose wisely. And that's all I got on that.
All right, Bo, final thoughts on this.
Totally unbelievable play. The craziest thing about the 4th and 31 was the play before. And it looked like Alabama was just sunk. I mean, I was watching the game and I was just like, so this is how it ends.
Right.
That. It was just like when Tua takes the sack against Georgia in the championship game, and we got 2nd and 26, and I was like,
doesn't look good.
No, this is awful. This is worse case scenario. The only thing that could have been worse is if he would have turned the ball over, because that would have effectively that would have ended the game.
That would have been it, right?
That'd have been it.
Yep.
And I was just thinking, we are going to lose a national championship on that. We have done all that all year, and then it comes to that. And then Tua looks off the safety, bang, touchdown. Unbelievable moment. I mean, unbelievable moment.
Yep. And, I mean, going back to the Georgia game, I mean, you know, when he does that, you're like, dude, what are you thinking? Throw it away. And then did you hear what he said to Saban in the locker room? He said, I did that so I could have more room to throw. And Saban was like, that's not funny.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, Mob. Well, that'll do it for this episode of the 4th and 31 podcast. We will be back later this week. We're going to do more rivalry stuff. We're going to get our picks in later this week.
Oh, hey, Chad, one more thing I did want to mention. I forgot to mention this. The show, the plays I put on the show. Okay, they went 8-6, and we went 3 and it was either 3-2 or 3-3 on money line, outright money line winners. We had a nice one there with Wisconsin. That was the best hit. Then we also hit UTSA rocking chair no sweat winner. When they play at home, that they're amazing. And then we had a third. Oh, Pitt was the other money line outright winner. But if you follow me on Facebook, excuse me, if you follow me on Facebook, again, it's Jeremy Bo Williams on Facebook. The entire card I put out went 21-14, and we went 4-4 on money line outright winners. So had a good week.
There you go. If you're a degenerate gambler like my childhood friend here, then follow him. Get you a little bit of. It's not mortgage money now. Be sure to.
Pizza money, baby.
We're playing for
money.
pizza money. Yes, and we all like a good pizza.
Let's be responsible.
Yes. Now, a little bit of preview for our next show. We're going to talk about maybe our favorite rivalry trophies. So I'll give you time to think about that. Mob, there are some really cool rivalry trophies out there. So let us know in the comments your favorite rivalry trophy for next show. And that'll do it for us. I am the Chad Bullock for Coach Bo and Scott the Boo Bird Boss. See you next time. Peace out.